Guys, Bobby Barrack here for the Delta Bass Scoop, brought to you by westernbass.com and Fish Delta TV. The concept behind the Delta Bass Scoop is we're going to talk about largemouth bass, we're going to talk about striped bass. We're going to bring you some tournament results of some of the tournaments that go out of Tracy Oasis Marina as well as Russo's Marina out here in the central part of the Delta. If you have an event or a club tournament out here on the California Delta that you would like to bring some exposure to, send your information, the results, if you have any video footage or snapshots of that particular event. Send it to Stacy@BobbyBarrack.com and we'll get you a mention on the Delta Bass. We're going to have video footage off and on about some of the anglers that caught their fish on that particular weekend in that tournament. We're going to break it down a little bit for you. We're also going to do some on-the-water instructional stuff with video coverage. My wife running the camera for us. We got our new cameraman. She's doing a great job. And we're going to show you the equipment, the type of line, the type of rods, the type of reels, and how to combat catching largemouth bass and striped bass out here on the awesome California Delta. westernbass.com and Fish Delta TV are bringing you the Delta Bass Scoop. Let's talk about a couple of the tournaments that we had out here on the Delta so far since January 1st. January 4th, AVA out of Russo's Marina, they had a tournament, and D. Thomas, the living legend, he came out with a new partner, Ryan Brewer from Stockton, and they had a little over 20 pounds. They had a 6. They had one almost 7 pounds as their kicker. D was pretty quiet. He didn't want to talk about how they caught their fish, but knowing him and that long rod, he probably caught a few of them flipping. Finishing right behind D and Ryan in the ABA tournament was Jared Jennings and Alan De Silva. They had 1876 with a 7.5 pound kicker. I talked to Jared and he said that he caught the 7.5 pounder on a spinnerbait. They only caught 2 spinnerbait fish. Out of the 17 fish that they caught, 2 of them were on a blade. One was 7.5 pounds. Woohoo, what a kicker. The other fish they caught, finesse tactics. Okay, that's the way the Delta's been fishing this year. A little bit of that hardcore, aggressive reaction bite stuff, but most of the fish are being caught with finesse tactics. On January 18th, the Delta Bass Club had their tournament down at Russo's Marina. The weather was unbelievable. Here it is, January 18th. The air temperature is like 80 degrees. There's no wind all day long. And so I told the wife, I said, you know what, we need to take our camera crew down there. So I grabbed her and the 2 grandkids, and we went down and we talked to a few of the anglers, and this is what they had to say. Hey folks, Bobby Barrack here for westernbass.com. We're here at Russo's Marina on Bethel Island. We're out here on the California Delta. Air temperature is probably 80, 82 degrees. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how warm this is. So it's going to be real interesting to see how the anglers today combated this unseasonably strange, crazy, weird weather that we're having. So I'm looking forward to that because I've been out recently struggling. I'm getting 3 to 6 bites a day, variety of techniques, drop shot, the deck worm, the is rig, and the rip bait. Those have been the primary patterns for me. Every once in a while I'll get a little bit of a flip bite going, but the fish are up and down, up and down. They're not used to it being 80 degrees on January 18th. So it's going to be real interesting to see how these guys get this thing done today. And you know, it's a California Delta. It could take 10 pounds to win. It could take 30 pounds to win. You never know. So it's going to be real interesting after the dust settles today. I'm really looking forward to these guys coming in and hitting the scale. Hey folks, I got Ed Ortman here from the Delta Bass Club. He finished 2nd place today. He had 5 fish for almost 9 pounds. Ed, you told me earlier that you caught like 40 fish today, and everybody else struggled to get 3 or 4 times. What were you doing that was so productive?
Pretty much throwing the rip bait this morning, and you know, a little bit later on it died on me, so we switched to drop shotting. But there's a lot of, you know, 1.5 pound, 2 pound fish, which, you know, makes for a good day fishing.
There's a lot of guys that I talked to today that wish they had your problem, that they can't get a big fish, they can't get any fish. So you've got something going that a lot of the other guys aren't, and you caught 40 fish today. That is amazing. Did you catch them early or late or all day long?
Pretty much all day long. We had a stretch in the middle of the day, maybe for an hour, hour and a half, that we didn't do very well. But
is this? I mean, this season is so much different than your traditional. Here it is, January 18th, and it's 75, 80 degrees. This is unbelievable. This is like we're in Hawaii. So what are you doing this year that it's a little different than what years past?
You know, the rip bait fish. Normally the rip bait fish ends in December for me. It continued all the way through, and you know, plastics usually, and today was the first day I caught fish on plastics. So I don't know why, the water's warmer. The rib bait fish kind of died on me and turned into plastics, and it worked real well for me.
I hope you don't mind, but I'm going to put some footage on there because a lot of these people, they don't know what ripping is. They don't know what it means. They want to see how a guy goes about ripping, and I'm going to show them some video footage of how Ed Ortman goes about ripping some fish out here in January on the California Delta. And if it works here, it'll work any place that you can find some largemouth that will eat a rip bait. Ed, congratulations on your second place finish. That's awesome. You. And we'll be seeing you next time around.
Okay,
all
sounds
right,
good.
Thanks.
All right.
I got Brian De Silva here. What was your total weight today, Brian?
1180.
Now today you guys didn't have any wind at all. How did you combat that?
Well, I was power fishing. I didn't do reaction baits. I was flipping a Texas rig with a punch and stick, 65-pound braid in 8 foot of water weeds. And I did that all day. All my fish were caught on that, and I just stuck with it all day. My partner that I fished with, he caught 3 nice fish. He took first place for the co-anglers, and we caught some decent fish, and we just stuck with that all day, and it worked out.
On Sunday, January 12th, the Hook, Line, and Sinker had an event, and Garrett and Jeff Bradshaw won that event with 7 fish for 24 pounds. I talked to Jeff after the tournament, and Jeff said that they caught 2 of their key fish on jigs. He wouldn't say where, but he did say that they were lighter jigs, 1/4, 3/8 ounce jigs, and they're fishing them extremely slow. They only got 2 bites on the jigs, but one was a 6, one was a 4. That's 2 for 10, 5 for 14. So they had to have those 2 fish to pull off the victory. That's awesome. That's good fishing. 6 and a 4 this time of the year, mid-January with the jigs. Awesome. Good job. That same weekend as the Hook tournament, we had the ISE show in Sacramento, and those boys put on a heck of a show. Kent Brown and John Kirk and those guys, it was fantastic. Very successful, highly attended, and the most impressive part for me was the quality of the fish that were in the bass tank when we were doing the seminars. It was just awesome. All the fish in the tank came from the California Delta, and I talked to Kent Brown, and Kent told me that the best 5, the biggest 5 bass that were in that tank weighed a total of 60 pounds. The kicker in the tank, in the bass tank, was over 14 pounds. What an impressive group of fish. It was awesome.
Hey guys, another bait that you need to remember is the rattle trap. On March 22nd, there's going to be a rattle trap only tournament out of Tracy Oasis in the southern part of the California Delta. The rattle trap is a bait that I've been catching, a fair amount of fish with. It always helps when I have a little bit of weather. When you're fishing your rattle traps, I like to use a 7.5 foot rod. It's a 7.5 foot one piece. It's a graphite fiberglass composite rod. It's both 7.5 feet, one piece. Love that. It's got a bit of a parabolic bend. That rod loads up really, really nice. That fish grabs the bait, chases it, grabs that bait, turns her head, moves a little bit. That rod bows to that fish, and then you give them the bad news. You don't want to be throwing your rattle traps or any other vibrating baits with a 5, 6, 7 power graphite rod. The rod reacts too quick. You're going to pull that bait away from the bass, and you're going to lose that opportunity. So rattle traps, 1/2 ounce, 3/4 ounce, you're going to vary your speeds. You're going to be winding it pretty quick sometimes. If you have a little bit of weather, you're going to fish it a little bit quicker. When it's like this, it's a pump and drop, pump and drop, pump and drop, okay? So play with your cadence, play with your tempo, and you'll have some success. The rattle trap, it's a fantastic lipless bait, and you'll get some big bites with it.
On behalf of westernbass.com, Fish Delta TV, I'm Bobby Barrack, and we will see you next time on the Delta Bass Scoop.